Hey friends, so welcome to a Thursday Night Live. We actually have a special Thursday Night Live. It is a happy book birthday for Scott and Adam and the Edu Protocols Field Guide Social Studies Edition. Super excited for you guys. Thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you.
We cannot wait to hear from them, ask them some questions, have them answer our questions. So as you are joining in, please do tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, and to be prepared to ask. These are the authors of the book, so you get to ask them questions tonight. We will do our best to answer all of those. But Adam and Scott, you are at a Edu Protocol special conference right now. I would love to hear how things are going. Tell us a little bit about that, and we'll dive into this awesome manifesto that you guys have created for us.
So hi everybody, I'm Scott Petrie. I'm a high school history teacher from Los Angeles, and Ab and I have had the great pleasure to be at this Edu Protocols T3 Framework Conference. It's been in beautiful Laguna Beach at El Moro Elementary School, and I'm so jealous of those kids because not only is their facility state-of-the-art, but as they're on the playground, they overlook the ocean. And I would just be wanting to run across the street and play at the beach every day.
For sure.
And we've had 2 days of delivering Edu Protocols instruction with all the other Edu Protocols authors. It's been really great. I did, I think, 3 sessions today and 2 Edu Protocol sessions today. So I did a total of 5 different Edu Protocols over the last 2 days. And we've done 5 or 6 sessions a day, each 50-minute sessions. I feel like I've been the Mount St. Helens of talking. That is my superpower. And now I feel like my brain is mush.
Yes. Adam, what about you?
Yeah, it was an awesome conference. Lots of people, great views of the beach, and I did cover 3 protocols over 2 days, and I'm right there with Scott. We're worn out right now, but it was
I
a lot of fun.
it's so like exhausting and rewarding at the same time, right? I love conferences when you're presenting and sharing all the awesome things that you're passionate about. But man, sometimes it's just like being on for that amount of time. It feels like you're climbing a mountain. Not that I've climbed one, but I feel like it would probably feel a lot like that. Well, we are so excited that both of you guys are, first of all, in the field doing the work with as history educators, but also took the time to put together this resource that is just outstanding. And it's really going to change how students retain information in a much more engaging way. That, history and any subject, honestly, doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be turn to the next page and take these notes that I write up on the board. You're going to copy them exactly and you're going to memorize them for the test. But you guys have taken the Edu Protocols that John Carippo and Marlena have really started, and that's why they have this conference with so many Edu Protocols authors, and you've adapted them to social studies specifically. So I would love for you guys to tell us a little bit. I know, Scott, you gave an idea of like what you do in the field, but also tell us a little bit about why you chose to write this book. And then Adam, I would love for you to follow up with that, adding on to whatever Scott says.
Sure. So, John put us together. Adam and I did not know each other. I don't even know if we were connected on Twitter. But about 2 years ago, John said, hey, I want you to write the Edu Protocols Social Studies edition, and I want you to work with this guy, Adam, who's a middle school teacher in Ohio. And it's really been the perfect pairing because as a high school teacher, I try to overcomplicate everything. And as a middle school teacher, Adam tries to simplify everything. So hopefully between the work that both of us did, the book actually makes sense. And I just saw Sean Moriarty jump in and say hello. And I wanted to say, what did you feed your kids for lunch? Because he was having a debate at lunch as the book arrived. Should I feed my kids or should I start reading the book? And I just want to know what won. What did your kids ever get anything to eat?
Are they still hungry?
So, but Adam, tell us a little bit about you, where you teach, that fun stuff.
As Scott mentioned, I'm a middle school teacher, and he's right. I tend to just simplify things and just get right to the point. And but I teach at New Richmond Middle School, which is about 30 minutes east of Cincinnati, Ohio, and it's my alma mater where I grew up. And I'll say, like, writing this book is something that's kind of unheard of out that way. So it's been a pretty cool experience so far.
Yeah, you guys are killing it. And I love to, as I went through the quotes that you pulled out and you were really excited about, I just found he said they reheated some pizza and worked. I love it. A little compromise. It never hurts. Kids will be just fine. Trust me, I survived off much less. Awesome. So yeah, so you guys put these EDGE protocols together. And as I was going through each and every one of those quotes that you listed out for me, I thought, wow, this is going to be so amazing for teachers just to take, and it's already prepared for them. So I'd love for you to share just a little bit about the layout of the book, what the readers can expect to gain from it, and who you're really hoping to get the most out of this book. Targeted audience.
So I'll jump in first. I consider myself a closeted English teacher, and I work at a medical magnet themed school. So we work together as a history teacher with the English teacher to have students look through this medical theme at all of their subjects. So we take a kind of a multi-pronged approach to interdisciplinary learning. And what I love about the EDGE protocols is it doesn't matter which one I'm using. It's a quick salesmanship device for me to get the kid into doing some reading. So I kind of think of them, I use all the EDGE protocols, no matter if they're sketch and tells or thin slides, but I use them to trick students into doing some reading and then showing me what they pulled out of the reading that was important. And it has really worked because both the English teacher and I use them. So it's common language. And we've been able to add rigor and complexity as the students become more and more familiar with the EDGE protocol routines. So Adam, go ahead and tell them how you do it, and then I'll take them through the book.
I like to use protocols to engage students. Their versatility and adaptability can work in so many different ways, and just it allows me as a teacher to be more creative. I think it allows the students to also be more creative as well. And I was mentioning the 4 C's a lot during my presentation today. Of when I plan lessons, I focus on having students create, critically think, communicate, and collaborate with one another. And I sit down and look and see, like, all right, am I covering at least 2, 3, or all 4 of these 4 C's? And with the protocols, you are covering most of those. And with that, allows me to go through and work with students, talk with students, give feedback, and that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, I feel like each and every one of them offer that. They offer students multiple opportunities to share their thinking. And then I love the piece where there's always some sort of feedback loop, where they can get some kind of feedback right away. That's not like way later after, weeks later after they've turned it in and learned it the wrong way for a long time. Then we got to correct it before the test. I love that about the EDGE protocols. So I'm curious, do you have a favorite protocol that maybe we could just sneak out? I know there are 13, right, in this book, correct?
So there's 13 lesson frames or protocols in the book. The book's 144 pages. It's 19 chapters. The chapters are very short, and you should think about this as a cookbook for history teachers. So how are you going to take your content and put it into these digital lesson frames that stay the same every time you use them? Essentially, the lesson frame stays the same, but your content changes. So you could be doing it for the Civil War. You could do an Iron Chef Civil War. You could do an Iron Chef Korean War. But whatever you're teaching, that content goes into these lesson frames. And we have, like I said, 19 chapters, about 144 pages. And the approach we took is, hey, here's how I approach this with my high school students. Here's how Adam approached this with the middle school students. Here are some student work samples so you can see what they turned in. And then here are some tips if you have English language learners, or if you're teaching AP World History, AP US History, AP Government. Here's some ideas for how you can use the Edu protocol to teach kids the historical thinking skills that are valued by the College Board. So I'm a little worried that this tag down here where it says AP for AP is going to limit people and scare them away if they're not an AP US history teacher, because there's very few kids taking AP across the board. And for a middle school teacher, I'm worried that we're scaring them off with this AP and college prep designation. It focuses on how to use the protocol. And then here are some examples of what our students did. And here are some tips if you're going to ramp up the rigor for an AP class. And here's how you scaffold it better if you have EL, English language learners, and make it simple.
It sounds
so we try to be all things to all people, which is always difficult.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It sounds like it's just going to meet everyone's needs if they're learning anything social studies. And honestly, if they're learning, right? These protocols are so versatile. Like if you read this and you're not a history teacher, you will be able to take it and apply it in your own learning too. I mean, they're just so versatile. But I love that this is very specific to, hey, Melissa, awesome. Your book will be here tomorrow. We can't wait to hear your thoughts. Yeah, we just feel like, yes, modify, right? And I'm wondering too, I feel like we have middle school, we have high school represented here. We talked a little bit of how to ramp them up and how to take it down a notch to get on a level of that kids can understand. So I also wonder, and I feel pretty confident I know the answer, but if you taught social studies in elementary, would these work well for you? And I'm guessing.
Yeah, you can definitely scaffold these lessons, and I'll attest to what Scott said. I had a couple of people this week at the T3 Edu Protocols Academy ask me, "Hey, I don't really teach college, and should I buy your book?" I'm like, "Well, I know there's an AP designation on it, but," said, "Scott teaches high school, I teach middle school. We kind of combine the two together." And then I had a bunch of elementary people asked me if the book would work as well. And I said, there's some 6th grade examples in there, and all of these are easily adaptable to any grade level. So
I love it.
I had a lot of people in my sessions over the last 2 days that were indeed elementary school teachers. And I love meeting them in real life and talking to them. I wish that there were these systems in education where they would put us together to collaborate more often, because I find elementary school teachers are incredibly creative. And they're really entertaining because they got to keep those kids busy all day. They're stuck with them for 6 hours. I only see them for 50 minutes. But I had elementary school teachers giving some great examples of how to use the hero's journey with the 3 little pigs. And I had another example of kids using the hero's journey for the Lion King and hero's journey for Cinderella, and really making it so easy for elementary school students to understand. One of the middle school teachers said she uses the hero's journey with The Outsiders. And I was excited because my 8th grade kid had just read that book this past year, and we'd watched the movie. And you know what? A lot of big stars in that movie. It really holds up well.
For sure. So tell them, so you mentioned the hero's journey. First of all, Dave was a history teacher, and he said, where was this book when I needed it? When he was in the classroom? He's jealous. I feel you, but that's okay. It's out here now. We got it now. We're helping everyone at this point. So tell us a little bit, maybe let's sneak a little bit about one of the protocols in history, the hero's journey. Tell us a little bit about the hero's journey. Like, what is that? Real quick, all of the protocols have a special name. If you never heard of Edu Protocols and you're watching this for the first time, they have a little name. As Scott said earlier, it's a framework that you can put your content into, and it helps you to deliver that content to the students in a way that engages them and helps them to retain the content. I mean, that's just a real overview. They can probably give you a much better definition of what a protocol actually is. But I'm curious if you could tell us a little bit about the hero's journey, maybe just link a little bit.
I think you explained it better than I do. I'm sorry.
I'm worried I'm like the Mount St. Helens of talking. I'm just going to keep going.
You're still going, though.
So the hero's journey comes from Joseph Campbell's The Hero with 1,000 Faces. It's about mythic structure and how stories in all cultures have these repeating characters and these repeating situations. And it helps kids make connections between historical events. So who is the John Dean of Watergate for January 6th? Kids start trying to think of historical events in that pattern. So how is Watergate similar or different to January 6th? Or how is the Mexican Revolution similar or different from the Russian Revolution or the French Revolution or any of those that we have to teach in 10th grade world history? And what you find is if you start simple and you use like Harry Potter and the Hunger Games, kids are really good at identifying who's the hero, who's the villain, who's the jokester, and who all these archetypes are. And what you can do with the Edu Protocol is make those definitions, those characters, those archetypes, those actual historical figures, make it history centric. And then who's the hero of the Mexican Revolution? Who's the bad guy of the Mexican Revolution? And what you do is you start getting your kids to have these conversations about content using the academic language of the framework, and all of a sudden you've got the Reese's peanut butter cup, the two things that go great together, and your learning accelerates exponential because we spend all of our days trying to get kids to A, read the material, and then B, apply what they've learned in a new framework. And it just supercharges the learning, and those conversations keep going after the bell rings and it's lunchtime, and kids will come back and say, I want to change my answer because of this. And so what I love about Edu Protocols is kids will ask, hey, can we do a hero's journey for this book we just finished? Hey, can we do a hero's journey for this movie that came out this past weekend? And I like to take my kids on unofficial field trips when a historical movie comes out, and I just meet them at the movie theater and offer to buy them popcorn. And the conversation after the movie invariably turns to either the archetype Foursquare, what characters did we meet in this movie, or what steps in the hero's journey did they take? The other thing for middle schooler kids or elementary school kids is all of the explorers, like Marco Polo or Ibn Battuta, they've all made steps along this journey. Mm-hmm. And having the kids practice saying, I think this is this step because is exactly what we want to be doing to help them get better at using academic language.
It sounds like, the framework just frames their thinking. Like they end up thinking like that later, way later when they're watching a movie with you or anything. And so we're helping them to learn and have these new patterns of learning that's only going to transfer over into real life. Like it's not only for history, it's not only for whatever subject area we're working on. We're really helping them to compartmentalize parts and pieces of their learning so they can put it together and they can connect it to real life. And I love that so much. I think Kristen said it well. She said, I love when they start to ask for them. They start to ask for Fast and Curious. They start to ask for the Iron Chef. They start to ask for them. They're like, hey, can we do this one today? This one seems to make perfect sense. I mean, okay, would you like to plan the lesson? I think that sounds fantastic. Let's do that. But yeah, when they start to ask for them, that's a true success is what Kristen said. And I think that's really true. When they start to, they already are thinking ahead, and you've already helped pattern the way that they think and the way that they learn, which only helps them later too. Like when they take the test, they're already thinking, I know who the bad guy is. I know who the hero is. And so all these questions, these multiple choice questions start to make more sense rather than them just memorizing a bunch of notes.
I was going to say to piggyback off of what Scott was saying, these protocols they're asking for, because I think they're confident within themselves, and such a confidence builder and booster among students when they know what's coming with the protocol. Any of these, if you do them enough. So.
That's so true, because they don't have to worry about like, I'm having to learn something brand new. It's like, I already know the framework. I just have to put the content in it, and they, like you said, they just feel confident. They feel good about themselves, and they're not having to learn how. They're just learning the what's, at that point. Super excited for Edu Protocols. We are so proud of you. This book is hanging out at the #1 on Amazon, new release. We're so very proud of them. They are out there killing it at this conference. So if you don't mind, go click above or below this video and grab your copy. Even no matter what grade level you are, I feel like it's very adaptable no matter where you no matter where you are at. And if you're wanting to, like we said earlier, raise it up to AP and college prep, you can do that too. There's definitely a lot of tips and tricks inside there to help you with that as well. Ryan, I saw your picture today of you holding up your copy. We can't wait to hear your thoughts. Super exciting. Thanks again, guys, for joining us. If they want to follow you as they are getting their Edu Protocols, trying it out in their classroom, maybe having some ups and downs in the learning process, how can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Moeller, MOLER 3031. And I'm on Instagram as well, Moeller.Adam.
And I'm on Twitter at Scott M, as in mailman Petrie, Petri. I had to add the M because if you just Google Scott Petrie, you get a Republican congressman from Pennsylvania, and that's not me. But if you add the M, you find me.
Perfect. Well, find these guys, follow them. You will not regret it. We'll make sure and put their contact information above and below this video as well. You can find the link to the book, and Dave has also dropped it in the comments. So be sure and grab your copy. You will not regret it. Your teachers will really appreciate it, and it definitely should be a part of your professional library. So thank you again, Scott and Adam. We are so proud of you. Thank you for trusting us to work with you to get this wonderful book out into the world. And thanks, John and Marlena, for coming up with Edu Protocols and helping students all over the world just to become better learners and retain this information in a much more fun way. And we hope that everyone has a fantastic night. We'll let these guys go get some rest. They've been presenting all day. So thanks for joining us and making time for us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tara.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.